Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Joy of Sticks. Stickhead here with your Atari ST gaming channel, and today I'm presenting to you the next instalment in the top 50. If you haven't seen the other previous two instalments, please check down below for links to those. But in the meantime, here are the next 5 games in your top 50 Atari ST games. Enjoy.
Number 40.
Bob Morlock, a video game developer otherwise known as Captain Blood, has developed a natty little game about squiddly aliens and some such. During a particularly frantic crunch time, he really should get himself some union representation. He's zapped into the game, whereupon he is cloned 30 times. In order to get back to the land of the living, he needs to collect the vital fluid of these clones. So far, he's tracked down 25 of them, but you must aid him in his hunt for the final elusive 5. To do this, you fly through the game world in your living ship, visiting planets and launching a probe in order to have a good old chinwag with some aliens. Use the game's unique iconography language UI to gain their trust, and they might just give you some information that leads you to a clone. Time, however, is not your ally in this quest. In a brilliant twist of UI design, as your quest continues, Captain Blood's health deteriorates and his hand will slowly start to shake, making the game more and more difficult to control. Disintegrating a clone and liberating those vital essences is the only remedy. Captain Blood wears its influences on its sleeve: Geiger-esque alien morphology, Kubrick-ish warp sequences, Mandelbrot-Ian landscapes, and Jean-Michel Jarre soundtrack are all front and centre. Any science fiction fan with an ST or an emulator owes it to themselves to hop into this thrillingly atmospheric interplanetary ride.
Vision passe-passe activée. Number 39.
There are very few games that one could really say are arcade perfect on the ST, but this is genuinely one of them. It's a spot-on conversion of a single-screen platformer from Jellicoe that harks back to the good old days of Taito's arcade dominance with games like Bubble Bobble. Just like the games of that golden era, it's got a ridiculously cute aesthetic, solid controls, and secret gameplay elements that reward inquisitive players. The graphics really are a treat for the eyes here. The sprites are all very cute and colourful, designed in the Japanese chibi style and animated with tons of character. The backgrounds are colourful and nicely detailed without being too distracting, and the occasional cutscenes are beautifully drawn. Rodland has some nice novel additions to the genre too. The village elder has gifted you with a rather fetching pair of rainbow booties that can summon a ladder with the press of the fire button. And your dear departed father, well, he's left you with the Rod of Shisanuma, a magic rod that can grasp enemies and repeatedly suplex them until they die. Each time you kill an enemy like this, a weapon will drop that you can use to dispatch the others. Bombs, rockets, and this bouncy star thing, they'll all kill enemies for a nice juicy fruit bonus. Each level also has a collectible that can be snaffled in order to turn the enemies into these weird peachy things. Those can then be farmed for letters. Use the letters to spell out extra for an extra life, and you're going to build up a healthy stack of those lives, and you're going to need them for the challenges that come later.
Number 38.
there are very few problems that a biomechanical suit can't fix, and an alien invasion certainly isn't one of those. So, as you're the last surviving member of your crew, you better don those metallic pants and get ready to blast some alien scumbags. Your nifty Turrican suit comes with a few additional extras to help you in your quest. You can turn yourself into an invincible spinning ninja star to zip around and take out those xenomorphic shins, or you can release a smart blast that causes a wall of fire to spread across the screen. Experimenting with these and the variety of different power-ups to your main blaster constitutes a lot of the appeal of Turrican, and finding which weapon works best in each scenario will see you progress a lot further. You can basically think of the Turrican series as the West's take on and mashup of Metroid and Contra. The theme and main character feel very Metroid, whereas the power-up system feels very Contra. The levels have a maze-like quality to them, a lot like Metroid, requiring you to blast your way through until you get to the big fella at the end, a lot like Contra. There's also a nice R-Type style horizontal shoot-'em-up level that breaks the action up nicely, and it's actually a lot better than many shmups' entire game. Turrican II is very difficult, but it rewards patience and perseverance with some great set pieces, and the amazing soundtrack throughout makes the game worth a play alone. The best run and gun action the ST has to offer? Maybe.
Number 37.
This is Delphine at their cinematic best. From the moment the opening sequence begins, you know what you're in for. Lester Chaikin turns up for another boring day at a high-tech underground laboratory. Sipping his Mountain Dew and kicking back in his chair, he sets up another test run and zap! He's in, you guessed it, another world. Eric Chahi was a visionary, and Another World doesn't just provide a unique gameplay experience. The atmosphere, the animation, the cutscenes, the sound effects. I'm a sucker for a developer who shows the heart they have put into their work through delicate little touches, and this game has them at every turn. The way the beast at the very beginning of the game is animated just exudes menace. The way the little fangs pop out of the knee slugs with a little flick of venom. The way the guard languidly removes his coat. And there's many more that will mean so much more to you when you discover them for yourself. It's just masterful. Anybody who cares about narrative design or animation really should have played this already. The best part of the game for me is the comrade you encounter and help free from the prison. I don't want to tell you exactly what happens in case you haven't played it yet, but this character provides some of the most memorable moments of pathos I've ever experienced in a video game.
Number 36.
I find it so funny that this game has ended up shoulder to shoulder with Another World on this list, as it's a game that lives in the same headspace in my mind. And that's mainly due to the exquisite rotoscoping animation on show here. And I can't help but think that Eric Chahi must have been a huge fan of Prince of Persia before developing his game. Now, this is the second game that Jordan Mechner made using the rotoscoping technique, the first being Karateka. Mechner famously dressed up his brother in white and filmed him executing the game's moves. The game is set, obviously, in Persia. Now, the Sultan is away and his ill-intentioned vizier, Jafar, is doing his best to seize power. In doing so, he locks away the Sultan's daughter until she agrees to become his wife, and it's up to the player to rescue her. The only problem is that the player himself is trapped in a dungeon and must escape first. The bulk of the gameplay comes from successfully negotiating the traps and hazards around this dungeon and defeating guards in swordplay. There's definitely a trial and error element to the gameplay here, and progress is earned the hard way. But once you learn the game's systems and perfect the control of the character's movement and combat, you begin to inch through the game, and there are some really amazing moments later on which I won't be spoiling here. The SD version suffers a little from slowdown here and there, but it does have more colour than the Apple II, Amiga and IBM PC versions, so it's worth giving this a go on the ST if you can.